Hello, Big Tube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and it is about 10:30 at night on Wednesday evening, May the 18th. I filmed a video earlier today where I talked about what I've already been reading in the month of May, sort of a middle of the month wrap up, and I mentioned some of the books that are coming up and all of that, and I've watched back through it. I haven't started editing it yet, and I'm not super happy with it, but I'm trying to not let perfectionism win over this time. Not that, my videos are perfect by any means, but I just have a hard time putting a video out there if I'm not completely happy with it. But I just don't have time to refilm this. I'm going to be out all day tomorrow. I don't want to put it off till Friday. I've got other things to do on Friday. So I am coming back just to say I wish that I had included a few other books that I have coming up, like the third book in the Dangerous Type series that I'm reading with the Killing Time with Cozy's group, Comic Sans Murder. I didn't mention that. I forgot to. But the real reason I'm filming a new intro is that I completely forgot to mention an activity, an a-thon that is happening during the month of May that I didn't even realize was happening until May had already started, and I want to tell you about it because it's not too late to join in. So my friend Amber from the channel Ambeikraftsreads is doing something in the month of May called Makin in May. So she not only does videos about books, she also does videos about crafts. She's a crafter, and she thought that it would be fun to do a craftathon, and I think that's a great idea. So I am going to make every attempt I can for the rest of this month to make something. I have a dishcloth started that is knitted that I am using to help teach my daughter Katie to knit. She wanted to try again to learn to knit. We had tried to learn to knit. I had tried to teach her to knit several years ago, and we got sidetracked, and now we've kind of gotten sidetracked again. But we've both started a dishcloth that we're making, and we haven't worked on it probably since before Christmas. So if she has time, if I can, nail her down for a few minutes while we watch a movie or something, I do want to work on those dishcloths with her. So basically, I'm making one. I know how to knit, and I'm doing a stitch or two just to remind her and show her, and then if she makes a mistake, then I pick it back out, and I'm trying to show her how to pick it back out. It's your basic learn to knit kind of project. So then the other thing that I actually bought at Christmas and gave it to Katie for both of us to work on, and I don't know if she will have time to do this month, but I do want to get it out and just attempt to start on it in the month of May. This is a diamond art kit. It's a Christmas theme project of some kittens. If you don't know, we are fostering a couple of kittens right now. One of them is a little orange kitten that is already several weeks old, and Katie is probably going to try to talk her dad into letting her keep that one. But the other one is just a newborn, and we are planning to try to help it find a forever home, and it won't be our home because we have 5 other cats right now. And then if we keep this new one, that'll be 6. But anyway, we love kittens, and this looks really cute. So I'm going to go now to the video that I filmed this afternoon. I'm just going to start it from the beginning. You'll see another intro and all of that, because at the time I thought that was going to be it. But then as I was watching it, I was like, oh, I got to tell you guys about Makin in May. So Amber's channel, I will link it down below. She's got her Makin in May announcement, and then she's done a couple of other videos since then. So I want to encourage you to go and subscribe to her channel, watch her videos, and then if you go back a little bit, she's got some booktube videos, and I just want to encourage you to go and throw her some love, give her some support, and make something in May. So the hashtag is Makin in May, no G, Makininmay, Makin in May, and I hope that you will check it out. So let me go now to the video I already filmed, and I will talk to you soon. Hello, Big Tube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth. I have precious little time to get a video filmed today, but I'm determined to do it. And yet, every time I start the camera, one or more of the cats come in and start making noise. So I have to just go with it, regardless of the noise in the background. If you hear anything crazy, it's just our crazy cats. So I wanted to do a middle of the month wrap up this month because I'm kind of reading a crazy amount of books this month for the month of May, both for middle grade May and for hashtag book a day in May, which is something that I have been doing for several years, both of these things. Even though middle grade May was officially retired a couple of years ago, we have had permission from the creator, from Acosta with K, to bring it back this year. So I have several middle grade books that I want to tell you about. I also have a few adult books because I have book club to read for, and a few books that I was finishing up from April, and a few books that I started for book club in previous months and they expired and I didn't get them done by book club. And of course, when you know, everything comes back around in my overdrive when I'm not wanting to read it. But I thought, okay, these things have been hanging on my currently reading list for long enough. So I am just going ahead and getting things done. Anyway, I have, by the 16th of the month, finished 16 books that are not Dr. Seuss books. And then I have finished 16 books, or read 16 books, that are Dr. Seuss books. Why Dr. Seuss books? That's the project I'm doing yet again with my daughter Emily for hashtag book a day in May. We read, I think, more than 31 books last year. I want to say it was 34. And this year I wanted to go ahead and read books that we did not read last year. And there are enough. If you count not only books that were written and illustrated by Dr. Seuss, he wrote a few that were illustrated by other people. He wrote some under other pen names. And there are several books that have been inspired by him. And I'm counting all of those. In fact, if I counted all of those, we could probably go another year. But I'm kind of thinking already of another idea for next year. Anyway, we're having a lot of fun. And I originally was thinking I would bring Emily in here and we would go ahead and tell you about the first half of the Dr. Seuss books that we've read in this video. But our live stream that I did this morning on the Rebel Resellers channel, it's a reseller live stream, it ran long, and I need to, in less than an hour, get to the post office before they close, and then go up to our library because we are having a book sale tomorrow, and if I get there between 5 and 6 today, I can help set up, and I can shop a little bit ahead of time because that way I don't have to get back there early in the morning. And now on Thursdays, because today's Wednesday that I'm filming this, the 18th, on Thursdays I have started volunteering at our new Historical Society museum here in my little town where I live. So let's just quickly go through the books that I have been reading. And I also want to show you some of the ones that I'm currently reading and a couple of things maybe that I'm thinking about adding to my TBR for the month. So let me just start with a few things that I've already mentioned, because the very first things that I read or listened to or finished at the beginning of May were Amish books that I had planned to read for Amish in April, and I just didn't get them done. One of them was a book that I was reading in print, and I just couldn't get it finished until May 2nd. It's A Plain Scandal by Amanda Flower, and I have talked about that book in more than one video for April, and I mentioned it in my April wrap-up. And then book 2 in the Abrams Daughters series by Beverly Lewis. I listened to this, I think, from start to finish on May the 1st. So both of those were Amish-themed books that I just didn't get done in the month of April, but I wanted to go ahead and finish them while I had them checked out, because I had the Beverly Lewis audiobooks checked out on Hoopla, and I didn't want to waste those borrows. Then I kind of forgot that I had checked out a movie based on a Beverly Lewis book that I read in the month of April. The movie is called Saving Sarah Kane, and the book is called The Redemption of Sarah Kane. I was a little disappointed in the movie. On its own, it wasn't bad, but it was completely, it went a completely different direction than the book. So I always hate to see books I enjoy go completely off course in a movie. And I mean, it was the same basic premise, but I mean, the setting was different and it just wasn't what I was anticipating. So, not a bad movie, but if you've seen the movie and you haven't read the book, just know that it's quite different than the actual story that was written by Beverly Lewis. And I'm not sure who wrote the screenplay. I don't know if it was approved of by her or if she even had to approve it, if she, signed off the rights and then they went with a different direction. I don't know how that all works, but, it is a good bit different. So then I also recently did a video about how I am getting myself organized, and the book that I read already in May is Get Your Act Together by Pam Young and Peggy Jones. So they are the women who inspired The Fly Lady, Marla Silly, I don't know if it's Silly or Siley, Cilley, and otherwise known as The Fly Lady. So I did a whole video about how I've incorporated their system and the Fly Lady system into what I'm doing right now. So check it out. If I think about it, I will put a card up here or I'll, put it at the end of the video or in the description. Okay, so I mentioned book club and I also mentioned books that I should have read for book club in previous months, but I didn't get them finished, and then I had to wait for them to come back around on overdrive. I've been on hold for these. One of them is Apples Never Fall by Liane Moriarty, and I knew that I wasn't going to love this, and I already kind of knew how it was going to end based on the book club discussion, but that was fine. It's been sitting on my currently reading list. I don't know if we read this just since, I don't know, March or April. Anyway, it's done now, and I think I rated it 3 stars. Then for book club this month, for my mystery club, we read Elementary She Read by Vicki Delaney. Interestingly enough, I enjoyed this, and most of our book club did not. I think our book club just doesn't get cozy mysteries. They just don't understand the concept, really, and why they would be entertaining, because the comments they made were like, well, it's not believable. It was this, it was that, and I can't even remember the comments, obviously, but needless to say, they didn't love it, and I thought it was fine. So maybe they're just not going to be cozy mystery fans, even though we read a few here and there. We don't read a lot of them, and I think most of the group tend to prefer that. Okay, then for this week, for our regular book club, we haven't even discussed this one yet. Tomorrow, actually, in real time, I have the meeting for this book, and it's The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I did really enjoy this. I only rated it 3 just because reasons, but there wasn't a huge amount of foul language. A couple of times there were, the F word, which, I always think is pretty unnecessary. And it did have a little bit of an occultish kind of direction near the end, and I wasn't a fan of that. So, there's just things that kind of brought it down for me, but overall, I did enjoy listening to it. I listened to it all in one day, and it was a very interesting book and an interesting premise. It is about a woman. Well, it's 2 timelines. There's a historical timeline about a woman who is an apothecary, and she helps women, mainly women who want to poison somebody. And then our contemporary timeline is about a woman whose husband has cheated on her, and they were going to take a trip for their anniversary, so she goes by herself just to kind of clear her head and think about things, and he ends up following her there and trying to make up. So that's kind of where that one starts, and it was interesting. Okay, so let's get to mainly I want to get to the middle grade books and tell you what I've finished. Most of these are books you're going to hear about in future videos because of the goals that I was reading them for. But before I get to the middle grade books, I am counting. Now, all of these books that I'm showing you right now count towards the 16 books that I finished during the first 16 days of the month. And I'm going to count these because I read these with Emily and I was a little bit behind. These are checked out from the library. So we needed to get these read, and they were cute. VeggieTales, obviously, they didn't have quite the same appeal as a VeggieTales video because there's, you know, music and action and things like that. And, you know, the VeggieTales music really is part of what makes VeggieTales great. But these were still very cute, very imaginative. The Giant Thank You and The Good, the Bad, and the Silly. These are written by Doug Peterson, and they were cute. So I've got to take those back to the library today. Then I also listened to a whole trilogy. Now, the first one I had already read. I think I read this in print. So it's unusual for me to read something in print and not retain it. And I shouldn't say I didn't retain it because I really did, but there were some complicated relationships in The Eighth Day by Diane K. Salerni, and I just thought, you know, they're all three on Hoopla now. I may as well just listen to this again and then go ahead and listen to books 2 and 3. Now, I own books 1 and 2, so we have The Eighth Day, and then we have The Inquisitor's Mark, and then I checked this one out from the library, The Morrigan's Curse. These have ties to King Arthur and that whole realm of characters, and I can't really say any more without spoiling it because it's just fun. That's one of the fun aspects of it. And these are what I would probably consider urban fantasy, and I thought they were a lot of fun. I did really enjoy them. The Eighth Day was a Sunshine State book several years ago, probably one of the first years that I ever read them, and I had been wanting to read the other two, and I just hadn't gotten around to it, so now I have, and I'm glad to know that they're all three on Hoopla. So then I said that I had a goal for middle grade May to finish reading all the Newbery winners of the 1940s, and also to finish all of this school year's Sunshine State books. The school year ends next Friday, and I always try to be done before the school year ends so that I can do a video about them, and this year it just didn't happen. But I also kind of decided that I might not even read them all this year because the school librarian, the middle school librarian that I used to volunteer with has retired, and so I didn't need to read them to write questions or, you know, do a book bowl or anything like that. So I didn't have quite the same pressure that I sometimes do, and I wasn't even sure that I would read them all. But now I think I will. I only have a couple left, but the ones I've read so far, I will show you, and then I'll do a whole video about them at some point, like after I finish them all. I think I have 2 left. This is a graphic novel, When Stars Are Scattered. It's by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. I really enjoyed this a lot. This is about a young boy and his brother who were Somali refugees in Kenya, and it was very moving, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Then this one had a little bit of a fantasy element that didn't really come into play until near the end. I was almost to the point where I was like, okay, do I have this wrong or not? But still, it was enjoyable. It didn't blow me away, but I enjoyed it for the most part. It's called A Wish in the Dark by Christina Soontornvat, and it's about a young boy who was born in prison. And I'll tell you more about it later, but it was just, it was sad. It was heartwarming. It had a lot of feels, and overall I did enjoy it. But then the other 2 that I still have to read, I didn't bring in here. I still have to read them. Okay, then for the 1940s Newbery winners, I am working on a couple right now, but I finished The King of the Wind on audio, so I have it done. This is a story about I guess an Arabian. Yes, the story of the Godolphin Arabian, and I believe that he is the ancestor of many of today's racehorses. I don't know if it's true or if it's just legendary. I don't know, but it was interesting. I did really enjoy it. And the 2 I'm working on right now, I hope to finish this one today, Miss Hickory by Carolyn Sherwin Bailey. And I read about half of it yesterday, and I hope to get to the other half today. It's not long. And then I've been working on this one. I started a few days into the month, and I've just been trying to read at least a chapter or 2 a day. This is Adam of the Road by Elizabeth Janet Gray. And so far, I'm enjoying it a little more than I thought I might. So it is set in like medieval England, and it's about a boy who's the son of a minstrel, and it's about their travels. So not too bad. And then I have one other one I think that I haven't started yet, and I can't think what that is. But then I also finished a Newbery winner on audio that is from the early 2000s. Might even be from the 20-teens. This is Hello Universe by Erin and Entrada Kelly. It had some enjoyable parts, but not my favorite. Okay, so then I have also finished, even though I said I wasn't going to finish it until the end of this week, I went ahead and finished the Penderwicks. This was a reread for me. I'm leading a read-along of this whole series. So next month, we will be reading the Penderwicks on Gardam Street. So if you are still interested in reading along with us, I know some people have already finished. Some people read it all in one day. And several of you have already commented on my Goodreads group. And if you've read it and you haven't commented yet, or if you've started it, or if you haven't started it, I hope you'll come on my Goodreads group and write some comments about it and participate in the discussion. So this is so good. I love it a lot. And I think it was even better the second time around. I realized, I went back and checked my Goodreads. The first time I read this was on audio. So this time I read it in print. In fact, I'm planning to read all of them in print this time. The original time when I read all of them, it was a mix. I did listen to a couple of them on audio, but I think the next one I read in print, and I remember really enjoying it as well. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I'm not going to start it until next month, and a couple people I think have already started it, and that's fine. But it's a read-along, and I hope that you will read along with me and with whoever else is reading it as well. So then the very first book that I started at the beginning of the month, I am working on because I'm just reading a chapter a day. It is a middle grade devotional book. It's basically a family devotional book geared towards families with kids, and I picked this up on my trip, and I've been reading it with Emily. We've been reading a chapter a day every morning, and it's Devotions and Conversations for Families on the Go. That's the subtitle. The title is Kids Say the Best Things About God, and at the beginning of each chapter, it has a fun quote from a kid, something about God and his perception of God, or their perception of God. It's really cute. So anyway, we're enjoying it. It's not blowing me away, but it's fine, and I'm glad that we're reading it. I'll probably pass it on to someone else when we're done. Then I am doing really good with making progress daily or almost daily with several of the books on my currently reading list on Goodreads. So right now I have 8 books on my currently reading list, and I am actively reading 6 of them. And of the 6, I anticipate finishing 5 of them. So one of them is another one of my library book club books that I didn't get finished, and it expired on my overdrive, and so now it's come up again. I was hoping it would not come up until June, but it came up again, and I thought, oh, I'll just go ahead and finish it. It is The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict. So I am listening to that. Actually, I listened to a good bit of it yesterday, and I want to try to go ahead and get that finished up within the next day or two. And then I think that's the only audiobook that is on my currently reading list. And then I am reading a couple of big books. The one I won't get finished is Pioneer Girl, but I was really proud of myself because in the month of April, I finished reading all of the introductory prologue kind of stuff so that I was actually ready on May 1st to start reading the actual Pioneer Girl manuscript. And I have done pretty good to read anywhere from 2 to 7 pages every day. Even at that pace, I won't finish probably until July, but I'm fine with that pace. They're big pages. They have a lot of words, a lot of annotations, and I am perfectly fine with reading at that pace. Then I ended up checking out a big coffee table book. When I was ordering Dr. Seuss books for Emily and myself to read, I didn't realize that this was going to be so big. And she has just come in here, so let me see what she needs, and I will be right back. All right, even though she came in here, we don't have enough time today to tell you about all the Dr. Seuss books that we've been reading, so we'll save that for another video. But I did want to show you this one because this is huge. Now, I did turn through this with Emily, and we read the captions of there are excerpts in here from some of his books, and we reread those, and a few of the other captions of the artwork I did show her, but there is a good bit of text, and I have looked through it. Now I am reading all of it, so I'm here, and I looked through, and as of last night, I had about 20 pages of actual text left, and by that, let me just show you an example, like this. So where there is a good bit of text to read. But then a lot of the book is just artwork. So I am probably going to be able to finish this by the end of the week, if not sooner. And I'm not counting this as part of mine and Emily's Book a Day project because it is taking a good bit longer to read. So on the day that her and I looked through this and she looked at all the pages, we also had a little Dr. Seuss board book, which was the only version of 10 Apples Up on Top that we could get. And so we read that, which was just like 12 pages. So so that counted for her book for that day. And I have been reading this one since then. So then I'm trying to remember what else. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I'm currently reading this one with Emily. And then these two were reading, there's one other book. Then the audiobook that I already showed you, the Personal Librarian. So that's the 6 that I am actively reading. I've got a couple of others. One is Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, and I just, I put it on hold because of all the readathons, and Felicia has finished it now. And so she announced on our Voxer group that she finished, and I haven't heard back yet from any of the others, but I sent a message yesterday that since I had already put it off this long, I may as well go ahead and put it off until June and then really focus hard on it in June. So I'm not actively reading it right now because I'm reading enough stuff for this month. And then I've got a cozy mystery that I started at the end of March that I have not finished, and I'm not actively reading it right now either. But I'll pick it back up in June, and I'm just excited, though, really. Even though I didn't want to listen to those library books that I had put on hold, they've been just sitting on my currently reading list, and I'm glad to just go ahead and move those on off and get those done. So that's good. Anyway, that is about everything that I'm currently reading. So I have a couple of other things, some additions to my TBR, and a couple of things that I'm thinking about. So I kind of forgot that Donna and I had talked about buddy reading book 2 in the Overthrow series by Kenneth Opel called Hatch. The first book is called Bloom. We buddy read that, and also Storm from Storm Reads read it back several months ago. And we had talked about reading book 2. It's a trilogy. The third book is called Thrive. It's kind of a horror book, really, about alien seeds that are raining from the clouds and growing into these man-eating plants. It's the kind of movie that I really like. I don't read a lot of books of this genre, but that kind of a movie always intrigues me. Anyway, Donna, Storm, I have a copy of this now from the library. If you guys have a copy and you are ready to read it, let me know. I don't know if I can get it finished by this month, but we could certainly go ahead and start it. I haven't even looked to see how many chapters there are. So anybody else out there who has read Bloom, if you would like to buddy read Hatch with me or with us, there are 24 chapters. So if I start today and read 2 chapters a day, I could get it read by the end of the month. It's just about whether or not I could do that or not and still maintain all the other stuff that I'm reading. I don't know. We'll see. See how it goes. And then I am going to need some more audiobooks to finish out the month, in addition to the ones that I already have planned to read. So on my shelf, I pulled out a couple of classics and then another maybe fantasy book that I have access to the audio of these books, and I'm thinking about adding them to my list. Let me know if you've read any of these. One of these is Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians by Brandon Sanderson. I have not ever read any Brandon Sanderson, and that one has always intrigued me. And then I've got a couple of classics here. The Swiss Man Robinson. It's by, is it Johann Weiss or Weiss? I'm not sure. Anyway, I have had this on my shelf for a while, and The 5 Little Peppers and How They Grew. It is by Margaret Sidney. So, have you ever read either of these? Did you like it? What did you think? Should I go ahead and try to get these read? I don't know. I've got lots of choices, and I have plenty of print things to read, but I have a feeling that I'm going to run out of audiobooks and still have some time, and also just to make up my 31 books for the month. I'm going to need to probably pick up a few more audiobooks. So that is it for this video. It probably won't go up till this evening, maybe not even till tomorrow, because we do have to put our shoes on and get to the post office and then get to the library and help set up for the book sale. So that means a book haul will be coming soon. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.